Benjamin here with Easy Choice Financial. How are you? Today our topic is going to be what is reporting on your credit reports. Do you know? A lot of people feel that almost everything they do reports on their credit reports. And I'll give you an example. We have clients that are thinking that their rental at their apartment reports on their credit reports. We have clients that think their cell phone reports to their credit reports. Well, on a cell phone, it'll report only if you're negative or if you're in collections, but otherwise it doesn't report. I'll give you another example. Some people have bank accounts. Most people do. Checking, savings, or whatever it may be. They think it reports to the credit reports. Well, it doesn't, okay? So we want to talk about what types of things do report on credit reports. And we'll give you an example from the beginning. Your names, all your AKA information, different names you've used with different types of creditors, banks, just anything that you've done, an application that you filled out, any names that you've used, all those names may show up on your credit report. So you got to be careful. What I always tell people is when it comes to the names, you always want to put your accurate legal name, even if you don't like your name, because your parents named you something you didn't like. You know what? If it's on your social, it needs to be updated to your credit report. This kind of hinders the possibility of identity theft or stops it, because I'll give you an example. Just take a name, a very common name in the Latino community, like let's say Maria Garcia, okay, for instance. How many Maria Garcias do you think there is just in Los Angeles alone? So I wanna make it very clear. If her name is Maria Sanchez Guadalupe Garcia, that's what needs to be put on everything she has. Otherwise, her files may mix. So it's very important to know what's on your credit report. All your addresses that you've ever used are going to be on your credit report. There may be addresses popping up on your credit report that you've never used. And if you kind of see something like that, that might show you might be an identity theft victim and not even know it, okay? You might have a relative or a friend that lives at an address that pops up on your credit. And then you might find out that they're not that close to you after all, okay? They're closer by using your information, but they're not that close to you. So these are the things that you want to be aware of when you're looking at what reports on your credit report. The other things that report on your credit report are your employment history. Some people keep employment history from like 20 years ago are still showing up on their credit. It's always important to update all the information as you move forward in life, okay? You don't want to have too many things happening. Sometimes the banks, when they're reviewing your credit reports, they see so many different addresses popping up on your credit, and every address is changed like every 6 months to a year, and the first thing the bank looks at is, wow, this person's not stable. They look like they jump around a lot, okay? So they can't count on you, and you might get declined for that. So these are things to remember. The other thing that's going to report on your credit report is any of the credit information that a bank you filled out an application with, like a credit card, a secured credit card, a car loan, a furniture store, any type of medical type credit, like care credit, you know, for dental or medical work that you're paying for. Any furniture stores, they may report. But then there's other creditors that you think are reporting, but they don't actually report. So it's always fair that every time you're in any place that you want to do business with, always ask them, is this information going to be reported on my credit reports? And if so, which bureaus do you report to? You always want to hear that they report to all the credit bureaus, okay? So if they just report to Equifax, then you know you're only going to get credit on that account with Equifax only. So you want to make sure, because there are secured credit card companies with certain banks, but they only report to one bureau. So that doesn't help you build credit with all the other bureaus, just the one, okay? So you want to always make sure about that. The other things to look for is, let's say, what's on your credit report that you think may appear? Child support. That will appear on your credit report. That's another one to look for. How about any type of student loan? You would think student loans don't appear. They appear on your credit report. The number one thing with student loans, I will give everybody the advice on, is don't continuously defer your student loans. They continuously add interest. So you'll always look at the amount that you got the loan for, and you'll see that the balance is higher than the amount. And it's only because you keep deferring the payment and you're still in school. I understand that's a benefit, being in school still, where you don't have to pay it back, but eventually, folks, you gotta pay those back. The number one thing I always tell the consumer, if you have student loans, don't be late on them and you gotta pay them. The other thing about student loans is when you get out of school, okay, that 6-month barrier after you get out of school, they start charging you your payments. Even though they told you in the beginning and you remembered at that time, you might not remember 5 or 6 years later. So you want to make sure you know that information. After 6 months of being out of school, the payments will start. And they're not going to call you to remind you, okay? And that's why we see so many late payments with student loans. Other than that, folks, if you have any other questions, anything I missed, you definitely want to call our company, Easy Choice Financial. We're located in Irvine, California. Our toll-free number for you is 888-655-6768. Or you can reach us locally at 949-732-1167. We're located across the street from the John Wayne Airport. You can't miss us. Have a blessed day.